Welcome to Fouts Boxing Theory, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at what would happen if the two generational talents, Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford, were to square up with each other. Alright, now, first we're going to take a look at a little bit of Floyd Mayweather and talk about who he was as a fighter fighting southpaws. We're going to take a little bit of looks at Terence Crawford. We're going to be looking at Crawford versus Spence, Crawford versus Postal, Crawford versus Brook. And then we're going to be taking a look at as well as Mayweather versus Judah and Mayweather versus Pacquiao. And all these are going to be very, very important ideas, okay? Including the clip against Mayweather versus Ortiz. Then we're going to talk about resume at the end, and we're going to talk about, eras, all right? Now, Mayweather getting on the line, lead hand control, controlling the line. Jab comes at him, he parries it, counter. Very common type of attack. During Mayweather's era, not very many fighters were very good at this stuff, following you back, right? Not very many great fighters in his era. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but not very many people were capable of defending their position and then making an attack on someone else's position. You had to be very strong and in very good shape. And around the time when Mayweather was very popular and very good fighter, there were very few people who were as strong and in shape as Mayweather. Okay, and he had this massive advantage over people like, say, someone like Judah, who could compete with him in speed and had more power, but just couldn't keep it up for 12 rounds, right? He was a 6-round fighter or whatever. But this is what we want to talk about here. Mayweather's main sources of offense, okay? Following you back when you punch at him, and this little pendulum right hand here, okay? So what do we want to take a look at? Number one, he's going to get on the line with this jab here. Boom, he's controlling the space. And now watch his feet, okay? He's going to pendulum forward, boom, boom, and then shoot himself into this shot. And Judah, pretty decent counterpuncher for his era. He was a pretty good fighter, okay? And we're going to talk about this stuff a little bit later. But this was Mayweather's main source of offense, okay? He gets on the line, okay? Controlling, pendulum, boom. Gets a little bit of lead foot dominance, lands that shot. I don't know if you guys are paying attention to how much Errol Spence looks like Floyd Mayweather when they fight. But they're very, very similar, okay? Now, again, Mayweather controlling space, controlling the lead hand, not getting hit with any dumb jabs, right? Not easy to hit Mayweather for free. And look at him jump into the line and throw the rear hand, okay? Watch his feet again. Boom, he's got a pendulum in, same kind of motion, and he kind of tells it. Judah feels it. He sees it coming, and now Mayweather has to bring his weight down, up, and look at his weight. Look at his heel come off the ground. Look at his back leg shifting forward. Look at him try to control the space with the left hand here. The clip gets cut off, but Judah looks to control him with his right hand right after that move, okay? And again, this is one of Mayweather's most common sources of offense, all right? This is Mayweather when he's standing still falling off of balance, not able to let that strike go super well. And we're going to pay attention to that, okay? Now, as the fight progresses, again, controlling space. Here comes Mayweather. He's about to pendulum in, right? And we see that move. We see that lead right hand coming, right? Now, what does this look like? You guys ever seen this before? All right, we're going to talk about this a little bit later. I'm not going to close this clip. I'm just going to drop it down. But we want to pay attention to this, okay? Leaning into the right hand. And again, look at him shifting forward, right? Again, the break in his momentum. We can see when he's about to throw it. Now we're going to take a look at a little bit of Crawford, okay? Crawford versus Brook, controlling space. Very similar. Here comes that 1-2, right? Here comes that control space, just like Mayweather was doing just a second ago. And Crawford's looking to counter him with the hook. All right, it looked almost exactly, it was almost completely identical, all right, to what was going on. But fighters today, they learned, right? Mayweather gets to be a pioneer. He gets to teach everybody, oh man, just being really strong and working out really hard will get you there. Similar to someone like Sugar Ray Leonard, right? I know it's a hot take. People don't like this one. Sugar Ray Leonard was not a great boxer. He was an incredible athlete. He was incredibly strong. His work ethic was unparalleled. Better than Mayweather, for sure. I mean, he probably was on steroids too, because it's a different time, I don't really know, because they were all jacked, man. Those guys were just, whew, but who knows? I don't know. To be honest, Sugar Ray Leonard seems like a pretty stand-up guy. If he said he didn't do it, and there's probably interviews of him saying he didn't do it, I'd believe him 100%. All right, but controlling the lead hand, right? No free shots down the line, right? Boom. Gets to the line with that shot, and now he's trying to let the rear hand go, and Crawford's picking it off and catching him with the hook. Okay, very, very, very important because that is one of Floyd Mayweather's main sources of offense, getting onto the line and letting that rear hand go. Boom, pulling, catching it, right? Getting boom, boom, body shot, body shot. All right, as Mayweather moves in, throwing his outdated technique because boxing is so much more evolved. People are so much better today than they were during Mayweather's era, weakest era in history, parrying that shot. Okay, easily countering with the body shot into another body shot, which can be easily observable by the fact that Mayweather has to shift forward after letting that shot go. Now again, Mayweather is a little bit better of an athlete than Brook, but not much. Okay? The margins are not that much that he's going to be able to fill all those holes while he's falling in here. Okay? And we saw Terence Crawford annihilate him. Okay? Now we're going to keep going. We got more clips to look at. Controlling the space, trying to get on the line, and 2-1. Now this move in particular is one of Crawford's best. He wound up dropping Spence with it, hitting him multiple times with it, but dropping him in the second round. And this is one of Crawford's best moves, is getting on the line with a powerful left hand and then being able to spring into a leaping right cross. Really, really beautiful shot, and Mayweather is very, very, very open for this type of shot as well. Okay, very, very, very important stuff here. Now, here comes Mayweather. Here comes the jab. He's trying to counter the jab, and watch him penduluming in and getting timed. Boom. Zab Judah's easily timing Mayweather, easily timing him and catching him here. Very, very similar to jab, pendulum, boom, counter, counter. Right? Very, very similar as the rhythm and the pace at which Mayweather sets his offense up off of his movement. Jab, pendulum, body shot, headshot actually. Jab, pendulum, countered. Getting countered in the middle of the pendulum step, just like Zab Judah showed that he was capable of doing to Errol Spence. Again, this is a very common pattern, a very common timing, and a very common thing to see. Now, Errol Spence doesn't have the luxury of having a lot of southpaw competition, right? When you take lead foot dominance against in the open stance, you wind up getting, or when you over pendulum on someone in the open stance, you usually wind up getting lead foot dominance, right? And this is one of the reasons why for Errol Spence in Errol Spence's case, that he just didn't get off the line enough. But as we continue looking, 1-1-2, falling forward. Okay, very, very, very important idea. Again, getting the lead foot dominance, but again telegraphing, having to jump in. Judah, even though he's not countering, even though he's not landing a shot here, still not being able to be hit, right? Very, very, very important. Now again, very important move. Again, Crawford doing a great job getting on the line. And I want to point out again, the effect that Mayweather had on boxing was this massive rippling effect, and we have still fighters today like, Shakur Stevenson, Keyshawn Davis, and Davis is going to be one of those guys that's going to find out the hard way as an orthodox fighter that it doesn't work. Okay, Errol Spence, it worked for him for a long time, not moving his head, fighting in straight lines, because he's a southpaw and he's the biggest one in the division, and he's hard to fight. He gets a lot of pressure on the line. Shakur Stevenson can emulate it all the way up until he gets to a similar point, right? But anyway, moving straight back to get away, boom, and getting smacked by the leaping shot, right? And Crawford gets so much weight into both of these shots, you really have to be wary of both of them. Now, this is another little game that Mayweather was very good at, but it's getting on the line, jab, pull, and he pulls this one and winds up countering with an even better shot. And this is very important because these are some of the only games that Mayweather plays, is countering your jab, getting on the line with the straight right hand, and then trying to land his own jab. Okay, and we're going to talk about all those kinds of games, all those little things. But this is what happens if Mayweather's getting on the line and controlling the line and trying to sneak up on him with the right hand. This is exactly what's going to happen to somebody like Mayweather in an era this way, where people are more used to this. This right here. This is such a more common sequence, such a more common thing to happen on the line, and people are much more prepared for it. People are more prepared to be strong and fast and to compete with someone who's strong and fast. Okay. Now, as we continue going, we're going to see Mayweather doing the same move. Okay. Now, like I said, he's going to get caught by Crawford. Crawford's going to catch him with the hook. Here's Judah catching Mayweather with the hook and dropping him. It just happened to be that Mayweather was throwing his to the body and not to the head. But again, Mayweather, he's going to get to this front leg, and here he is, penduluming in, telling on himself. Okay? We don't get to see the pendulum here. But this clip is very, very, very important because there's no reason that Judah couldn't have been able to keep this up over and over and over again and continue scoring points. Okay? Now, again, same move. And now check this out. Even Judah's starting to catch him with the shot, right? Jab, pendulum, right hand, hook from Judah. Okay? Stops Mayweather right in his tracks. Okay? Very, very, very important. Lots of people figured out Mayweather's little tricks and games, right? Getting on the line, the jab games, jab, pull, smack, countered him. Do we think that Crawford can't do this too? He did it to Brook. Brook, someone who is bigger, has a longer reach, who is also very, very strong and fast. He's not as... I think that on pound for pound, Mayweather still hit harder than Brook. And even like just person to person, he probably hit harder than Brook. Brook was never a really hard puncher. He's always very soft in his heels. But a few things. Again, penduluming in, getting caught with an uppercut for no reason. Right? Again, very, very basic stuff. Jab, pendulum, boom, timed. And is Judah making an escape. Beautiful, beautiful boxing there from Judah there. Now, beautiful, okay? Again, very Errol Spence-like. Coming forward, got the earmuffs, and he's got the shoulder feint timing when he gets his weight to the front foot. As soon as he creates the correct structure, strike. Judah counters, right? Gets his head off the line just a little bit, counter to the body. Counter to the body. Counter to the body. We saw many, many, many times in the fight with Errol Spence that Crawford was in position to throw many, many, many more punches than he was, while his opponent was off balance and barreling into him, just like Floyd Mayweather is doing. Okay, real quick, here's a question for you guys for Fouts Boxing Combat System. What's the biggest contributing factor between Errol Spence and Mayweather, their techniques, that causes them to be falling off balance when they throw their punches? Okay, the best answer gets a free Fouts Boxing Combat System. I've given away a few already, so leave your answer in the comments below. If you guys are interested in learning how to do any of this stuff, if you're interested in learning the best patterns, the best way to get on the line, make an attack, make the best attack possible, and get off the line, check out the Fouts Boxing Combat System. Check out my track drill, where I will teach you how to get on the line. I'll teach you how to land your best punch, teach you how to get off the line safely. I'll teach you how to do it from either side of the line. I'll teach you to do it with any punch. And then I'm also going to teach you, again, the secrets to power punching. All right, I already talked about it on my channel about 2-foot punching. Everything we do with drive with both feet, okay? I'm the first combat sports coach to figure it out in history. I'm the only combat sports coach on the planet that has an entire combat system dedicated. Shadow boxing, double in bag work, heavy bag work, every drill imaginable. And they all use the 2-foot punching theory and the 2-foot punching series, so everything makes sense. Everything goes together, including the way that I jump rope. Okay? Now, not only that, I'm also going to teach you how to punch hard. Okay? I'm going to teach you exactly what it is that fighters like Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, Terence Crawford, what they do on accident, what they don't even know that they're doing when they throw a punch. Okay? I'm going to teach you. All right? Now, getting back to the film study. Again, falling off balance because Mayweather is a fighter. Again, if we pay attention to the decline of Pretty Boy Floyd into Money May, there was a distinct lack of, what would you call it? Because he was, quote-unquote, different, right? Well, Mayweather didn't have a system for 2-foot punching. He didn't understand what to do with his weight, when he was supposed to do when he, after throwing a punch, how to get his weight correctly back to the ground so that he could be in the correct position. All right, there's a lot of things wrong with Mayweather's technique, as he was kind of a straight up and down, but super fast and super athletic guy, right? But he didn't have a system. And that's why he falls off balance, and that's why Terence Crawford, again, someone who was in position to throw many, many, many more punches, much more quickly than him, boom, countering him. Now again, check this out, you guys. Just like this sequence that we watched of Errol Spence, he's going to get to the bring his weight forward, pendulum, throwing that shot, gets countered. Boom. And what does he do right after getting countered, guys? Because I know all of you guys are going to say, Mayweather, he makes adjustments. He's the master of adjustments. Here it is. Anyone in the comments section that says Mayweather makes adjustments, okay? Anyone reply to him with a timestamp at 15 minutes, okay? Here he comes, doing the same exact move and getting countered again. But he does the exact same move. Boom. Boom. And you can see his weight. You can see him trying to do 2-foot punching. You can see him trying to get down, up. You can see. But he's telling on himself because he doesn't have a rhythm and a flow and a way to get there safely. He doesn't have a system. Okay? Now, still super hard to fight, right? If you close the distance, you get on the line with him, he can still let his hands go, right? But that's not really where he gets most of his offense. And I include the rest of the clip there because not only is he not going to be able to get on the line with Crawford very easy, but it's Crawford is the one that's usually punching during those moments, not his opponents, right? Although there was some times where Errol Spence was able to jump on Crawford's line and still let off a barrage of punches. Again, Mayweather getting to that front foot, boom, telling on himself, re-penduluming for no reason. He's planted, right? Real quick, if you guys step and you punch and you land your punch and your thing at the same time and you do it the way that people tell you, this is what's going to happen every time. Okay? There's a very particular rhythm and flow at which you need to catch your weight in order to make sure that you don't have to do this and force yourself to pendulum and walk into punches from, Zab Judah for a long time was my favorite fighter, okay? But an average boxer, right? There's going to be a time coming up soon, okay, where people with the skills of Zab Judah will be commonplace. But catching him with that shot again, and then again, he just can't help but tell on himself, struggling to get into a position to land that, and then land on top of you. Okay? All right. As we continue going into the film study, right? Watch Judah come in with a 1-1-2. Now again, Errol Spence, who fights on a line, or Mayweather, who fights on a line, moving his head straight back, doesn't have a lot of places that he can hide his head, okay? And Judah able to find him here with the straight left. With a straight left here. And notice the position that Mayweather's in. Very open for the right cross, right? Coming around the guard, again, because that's one of Crawford's best punch. Very easily able to get on the line with Mayweather. Judah was, but he's not really always that 2-3 kind of guy. He does have a couple of 2-3s, and he throws a 3 here. Almost gets him, right? But again, it's not very difficult. People talk about Mayweather's defense like he was so great, like he had all these great skills, all this great defense. We're going to be breaking that down a little bit as we move forward. And we get to the Pacquiao clips. But again, getting right on the line very easily. And again, 2-1, right? Getting on the line for free. Boom, 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 boom. He didn't get that shot, but Crawford might. Okay? And now, as he moves into this position, which, is illegal to duck below the waist, is Crawford missing all these shots, right? Is Crawford not a finisher? Is this not going to be something good for Crawford? Is Crawford, And it's just very interesting that a lot of people would just kind of give up here, and allow Mayweather off the ropes or off without having to pay for that stuff. And now here we get to some really interesting stuff here. So first off, we're going to set the tone, okay? Mayweather would like to control space. He'd like to probe, and he'd like to pick you off with his jab, 1 punch at a time, or his rear hand, 1 punch at a time from the outside. And anytime he had to fight you in any other capacity, he would duck below the waist, grab you by the body, and then try to tie you up. And this is not defense. He gets credit for being a great defensive fighter. What he doesn't get credit for, and we're going to talk a little bit about that too. Look at him punching too. Look at him punching. Okay, what he doesn't get credit for is wasting time on the clock. Okay, Now, he's throwing these punches just to create enough space to get off the ropes, okay? He's not really trying to land them, but we're going to look at it. 1, 1, 2. Look at him pendulum forward. 2, pendulum forward. He's forced to. It's not like these moves are very difficult to counter, and we've seen Crawford throw many counters at many, many similar positions, okay? Now, this is kind of a long clip here. Throwing a 2. Ties him up. Illegal. The idea that it can be made to look like an accident, or that it's this or it's that, is kind of sad for boxing and for that era, that entire generation, because Pacquiao spent all that time on the outside working his way inside only to get grabbed, illegally held. And as the referee is telling him to stop, Mayweather usually does his best to hold on to those engagements and those sequences as long as possible. We're going to see some of those sequences as well. But now, he just got out of a clinch, and now he's going to keep circling. He's going to do probe. He threw that punch. Is he trying to score? He's trying to create a little space so he doesn't have to fight. One punch. All right, moving off the line. Moving off the line. Here he comes, controlling. And now here he is in the same position, getting hit. 2-3. 2-3, very effective against him. Caught him. Easy shot. Ducking below the waist. Grabbing. Holding. And again, 2 spoiling sequences in a row. Right? Well, he did the one where instead of ducking below the waist and cheating and grabbing, he actually just got punched like you're supposed to when you have bad defense. Okay? But this is not defense. This is not boxing here. Being the bigger guy and being able to grab and manhandle a guy is not defense. Right? Okay. Just being clear. 1, 1, 2. And look at him shifting forward. Again, look at him getting caught by the right hand by Pacquiao. Okay? Very, very, very important, because this was such a common amount of offense, because as Mayweather had to be faster as people adjusted to what his tricks were. He had to maintain being in motion, and that compromised his technique. Okay, I know he wound up winning the fight. I know, technically, or whatever. 2, penduluming forward, controlling his head, almost getting hit. 1, 1, 1, down, up. Okay, and again, almost getting hit. A little bit of control. I like that sequence, though. I'm not mad at it. Stepping jab. Okay. 1 punch at a time on the outside. Look at where his head stayed. Is it hard to counter him from here? For someone like Crawford? Is that all that's in that sequence? No, there's more. Boom. Shooting that jab again. And look at Pacquiao. 2, 3, right? Or 2, 1, right? Almost getting Mayweather. Okay. Who's going to get him? Well, Crawford's probably going to get him, right? Ducking below the waist. Again, this is not how a sequence is supposed to end, guys. This is not good defense. All right? He's completely out of position, worse than Spence was in the entire fight with Crawford. Now, bread and butter source of offense. Again, getting on the front foot. Pendulum. Body shot. Low blow. Almost still getting countered, but telegraphing that move. And again, Crawford is very, very good at picking that shot up. Boom. Pendulum forward. Smack. Smack. Look at him coming forward. Again, telling on himself. Shooting the rear hand probe. Penduluming forward because he has to. Because he's constantly in momentum. Because he doesn't know how to throw a punch correct, so that he doesn't have to do this. Getting countered. Crawford can counter him too. Crawford can land combinations on counters as well. Okay? Now, the ref is telling them to break here. The ref is telling them to break. Look at Mayweather's left arm. Break, break, break. He's pulling him apart. Look at Mayweather still holding his left arm. Look at Mayweather still holding his left arm. Still holding. And again, all just to wind the clock down, so he can talk to him. And there were so many times in the fights with Mayweather where he could shave off easily 30 or 40 seconds of a round by doing stuff like this, where he doesn't have to fight, and now there's less sequences. There's less opportunity to get knocked out. Coming forward, standing on top of his opponent. Is this going to fly for defense when he winds up barreling forward, throwing his shot? And again, look at his feet. Here he is. Boom. Pendulum forward. Boom, boom. Stuck on top because he's forced to shift forward. Okay? What's Mayweather's next attack going to be, guys? Does anybody know? Same thing, right? Control with the left hand instead of his whole body. Right? Again, forced to shift forward. Okay? His technique was not as good as people thought it was. His fundamentals Not as good as people thought. All right. Again, stepping forward, coming forward with the jab. Boom. Parry. Counter. Okay. Is Crawford not able to do this stuff as well? And the thing is, boom. Getting him on the line. Coming forward with the 2. Counter with the 3. Try to counter with the 2 again. Again, very, very easy work for Crawford. This is all stuff that Crawford can do very easily. Again, now also, if you don't know what Mayweather's going to do when he gets into a position, look at him. He's already got his block up. He knows it's coming, right? Mayweather just tells on himself every time. Block, counter. I think Pacquiao misses the counter, right? Gets that counter there. But Mayweather has to come forward. The only reason he's even throwing this punch is because he's hoping to get here so that he can grab him. He's throwing that punch to close the distance so he can run the rest of the time in the round off. Right? Again, because he wants to stall. He doesn't want to score points. He just needs to control space. He does score points with that shot, but that's not even the point of the punch. Again, penduluming in with the very poor footwork, telling on himself over and over again. Boom, boom. Too much time. You don't have that much time against someone like Terence Crawford. Now again, coming in, here comes the jab, boom, down, up, 2, 3. Okay? All stuff that Crawford is able to do, but Crawford is bigger. Okay? Crawford is a very, very good puncher at 147. All right? Parry, okay? Picking off that jab, Mayweather leaves his head in the same zone, boom, countered, and Mayweather's hurt. Catching Mayweather and hurting him there with a beautiful, beautiful shot. Okay, and again, this is exactly what he did to Crawford, or what Crawford did to Spence. Okay, picking off his jab and then countering him all night, countering and taking away every jab, even so bad that he was attacking him as he was jabbing. Right. Now, how often is something like this going to happen in the fight with someone like Crawford, and they're going to make it through the fight? Right, because this is what happens when you don't duck below the waist. Right? You just get hit by a bunch of punches for no reason. Boom, boom. Here's Mayweather getting hit by the 2-3. Boom, boom. It looks like he's rolling it, but he's not. And then getting hit with another follow-up shot. Again, this move is his kryptonite. Boom, boom. Just like for a long time in Tank Davis's career, right? People were accusing him of getting hit with the 2-3 or the 2-1, right? And it's true. Getting caught again with another hook. And again, Crawford is a real hard puncher. These are all really, really easy sequences, okay? Really, really easy work. 2, 3. Getting him again. All right? And now he's in the ropes. What's he going to do? Is he going to duck below the waist and grab you? Now, again, the 2 comes. He ducks. Pull. Boom. Excellent, excellent shot. Okay? Countered him. And look at Mayweather do the funny thing, right? A little bit of funny legs. Pacquiao's going to jump on his line and blast him, right? How many times in a fight are you going to be able to allow someone like Terence Crawford to blast you? Is anyone going to assume? Is anyone going to assume that Crawford's not going to catch him based off of any of this evidence? Counter, counter, right? Again, Mayweather throwing his 1-2, 2, countered, countered. Pacquiao was countering him. You know, I'm not trying to say Pacquiao was a small guy. You know, I definitely didn't have, wasn't picking Pacquiao to win that fight by any means. But we're going to take a look at that clip in a second. Here's Crawford coming forward. He got hit. Here comes his opponent, a bigger version of Mayweather. Right? He's not as good as Mayweather. He's not. But he's strong and he's fit like Mayweather. He's fast. He's sharp. And here comes that jab. He's going to come forward. Boom. Jab. Counter with the hook. This is a bigger, taller, trickier opponent. Someone who's actually got his hands up. Okay? One thing that we want to pay attention to in most of those Mayweather fights, those Mayweather clips, look at his hands. Look at his hands, guys. Look at how low they are the whole fight. I'm not trying to say he's fighting a midget or whatever, right? Now, look at him get on the line and just blast this guy. Just blast him right away, okay? Okay, keep going. Oh, we're going to come back to this one here. boom, boom. Throw in that body shot. Throw in the 2. Counter, counter, counter. He countered the guy twice. He hit him when he made it to the front foot, and then he hit him with the rear hand after. Again, in the first round against a much taller opponent. Okay? Crawford versus Mayweather. Crawford is the big guy. Crawford is the guy who's going to be the one, I don't want to say dictating, but he's going to be the bigger, stronger guy. You know? It'd be hard for me to believe that he wouldn't even be the favorite. Stealing a free body shot here. Getting his circling on, dragging this guy around. Where is this guy going to land any punches? How similar is he to Floyd Mayweather? Now, coming in through the jab, and again, getting immediately countered. Okay? Getting immediately countered by the hook. When would Mayweather be able to get on the line with someone like Crawford? When would he be able to do something like this and not get hurt? Okay? Alright, we got a few more clips to go. Again, getting on the line here. Boom, stepping jab. Crawford counters it and takes it away easily. And he's throwing bombs. We saw everything that he threw at Errol Spence. Hurt him. Every single shot. Okay? Now, again, look at how low Mayweather's hands are. Do we even think for a second he's going to win the jabbing game against Terence Crawford, who fought a taller, lankier guy, even though we know he didn't have the reach advantage? We could read that in BoxRec. But no chance. There's no shot that Mayweather beats him on the jab. There's no chance that the rear hand probe, with all the way that Mayweather shifts forward and is forced to propel himself forward, there's no shot that Mayweather gets it done with this shot and doesn't wind up getting blasted by a better striker than Terence Crawford. A better striker than Zab Judah. Okay? Now, when we talk about eras, alright, let's talk about, who is it that Floyd Mayweather fought if we go down his list, right? If we go down the list of all the people, let me actually just bring up his BoxRec here real quick. We have one guy like Errol Spence, right? And that would be Mayweather's best win is Corrales, right? I know people say American promoter when you Google this guy now. He's not even a fighter. American promoter. But when we go down the list of his names, right? Well, Ricky Hatton is a good win. He didn't get to fight Ricky Hatton the way Ricky Hatton wanted to fight, but that's okay. But a lot of champions, a lot of decent guys. How many of them were as strong or as fit as Mayweather? How many of them worked as hard as he did? All right, what percent, right? What percent? He had 50 fights and maybe one guy, right? 2 guys? 3 guys. Zab Judah, pretty good shape. Andre Berto, pretty good shape. Victor Ortiz, incredible shape. Who else? Who else had the work ethic? Flabby ass Oscar De La Hoya? Nah. Canelo Alvarez almost, but he was such a baby when they fought. Right? Manny Pacquiao is an example of one of those guys that's really, really strong and fit for his time, right? Again, super fast, super strong, hard puncher. Miguel Cotto was close, right? Also, not a big head movement guy, not he's a pretty good fighter. He's a guy I always underestimated. But if we go down the list, okay, Conor McGregor. What would happen if Conor McGregor fought Terence Crawford, guys? Should we stop there? Because we all know that Terence Crawford would annihilate him, right? First round knockout if he wanted. Right? What would happen if Terence Crawford fought Andre Berto? Okay? Well, Andre Berto got beat up by southpaws his whole career. He would get annihilated, right? Arguably lost to Luis Collazo, okay? Who I know people don't. Who's that? That dude was a bad dude. He was a good fighter. He was a good fighter for sure. Manny Pacquiao, right? Pretty good fighter. But he didn't fight Manny Pacquiao. That wasn't a boxing match. Holding him. There's a time where he throws a punch, leans on top of him, puts him in a headlock, and keeps punching him while he's got his arm. He's got him in a guillotine. And he's punching him. There's so many times where the ref is saying break, and he's holding and holding and holding and draining the clock. Because Mayweather was a protected fighter. Protected by the judges. Protected by the ref. Protected by Las Vegas. Mayweather fought in the weakest era ever in boxing. And he got to be a bully and pretend like he was the best ever. Terence Crawford is all that shit that Mayweather said he was. Okay? Now, Marcos Maidana. To be honest, I'm a big fan of Marcos Maidana. I thought he was a pretty good fighter. He still gets a B, right? His defensive responsibility, not that great, right? There's no layers of defense. He's not hitting you with very many pull counters, although he did beat Mayweather's pull counter, right? As we keep going down the list, Saul Canelo Alvarez, he's a pretty good fighter, right? He was a baby when they fought. No head movement when they first fought. He was not a striker. He was still trying to fight and beat Floyd Mayweather when everyone thought that that's all you could be in boxing, that was the pinnacle of it. Because he was the fastest and strongest and most fit guy, everyone just thought that was the best way to do it. But it just turns out that he was fast and strong, and he picked on a bunch of people who had shitty body mechanics. Robert Guerrero. If you guys don't think that Terence Crawford would starch Floyd Mayweather, go watch Robert Guerrero and imagine that was Terence Crawford getting himself into these wily situations and say, oh wait, Bud would stop him here. Bud would stop him here. Bud would have dropped him. Bud would have got him. Bud would have got him. Okay, just go back and watch it. Miguel Cotto, pretty good fighter. Victor Ortiz. Victor Ortiz was snapping Mayweather's head back. Flying around the ring with his athleticism, 2-3ing him. Boom, boom. Right? Southpaw. Caught him a bunch of times. Mayweather had to cheap shot him. Right? Jamie, can you bring that one up? Oh, shit. Jamie, fuck off. He had to cheap shot him to get him out of there. And look at, this is Mayweather's best punch. The left hook, right? It's always been better than his right hand. And he's landing it flush right here. And he just looks at him. Hey, ref, come on, bro. He had to hit him with his two hardest punches against a guy with his hands down to drop him. How many knockouts did Mayweather have? He got a TKO against the guy who was making his debut, Conor McGregor. He had a KO of Victor Ortiz. Ooh. KO of Ricky Hatton. That's pretty legit. That's a legit one. And then Sharmba Mitchell was his last KO, right, at 140. Okay? The only way that Mayweather wins a fight against Terence Crawford is if he pulls some shit like this. This is literally his only shot at beating someone like Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford would 100% annihilate him. His resume is better. Okay? Look at, again, as we go down, okay? Ricky Hatton, right? Okay, Shane Mosley hurt him. Almost dropped him, right? Juan Marquez, pretty good fighter, but he's a midget for the weight class. Ricky Hatton, very good fighter. Bad chin. Very, very bad chin. He lost to two of the greatest fighters of the era, and then he just quit instead of continuing to become one of the greatest fighters of his era. He just gave up. But what I want to get to is Carlos Baldomir. All right? Carlos Baldomir is... he's like the biggest guy that Mayweather ever fought, kinda. Right? Not really, right? Because Oscar De La Hoya is supposedly like 5'11" or whatever. I don't know if that's true. No, he fought this guy, Philip Indo. That guy was pretty tall. 5'10" and a half. But how many big guys did Floyd Mayweather fight? How many strong and fit guys? Because this is the biggest and strongest guy that he fought, the welterweight, right? And like, I do think he's bigger than Mayweather. Well, God, it's tough, you know. I don't know if his shoulders are not big as his bicep is not as big, his forearm doesn't look as big, his body is huge, right? But Mayweather's body is tight. He's really strong. But Mayweather didn't compete against people who were as big and strong as him. Did he fight a single guy who was as big and strong as Floyd Mayweather? Could you guys imagine what a fight would look like if Errol Spence jumped on Floyd Mayweather's line? Right? Now, Errol Spence not a counterpuncher, right? Where are them good clips at? Is that going to happen against Errol Spence? What's going to happen here? Is that going to happen? There's a very specific clip I'm looking for, and I don't actually know where it is. It's actually up here, huh? Here? He's going to jump on his line. Is this something that would happen against Errol Spence? Right? What would happen if Errol Spence jumped on Mayweather's line? Okay? And Mayweather... And Errol Spence is way bigger than Pacquiao. Way bigger. Okay? Mayweather didn't fight anyone. He's never fought anyone who's as big as Errol Spence. Okay? We go to Terence Crawford. When we go to Terence Crawford and we look at his resume, I know people want to talk shit about his resume, but you people don't know. You don't know anything about boxing. Okay? Sean Porter, you don't know fucking shit. Kavaliauskas would annihilate you. He would 100% knock you out, Sean Porter. 100%. Okay? Uh-oh. The BoxRec stuff is not going to work anymore. They're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. But how many fighters did Floyd Mayweather fight that were as big and strong and physical as Jeff Horn? Remember that guy who got beat up by Manny Pacquiao and manhandled him still? He got beat up. Like, no doubt. But how many people? How many people did he fight like that? You know, when you look at the resumes and you look at how strong and how tough everyone is, how many Olympians he fought, how many this, how many... You know, Terence Crawford's resume... You know, there's not as many champions. Maybe. There probably is. I don't know. Because Mayweather's been having, you know, champion fights. He's had like 30 champion fights, right? 30 championship fights. But the quality of his opposition is just so much better. We're in a golden age of boxing where people are learning how their body works. They're getting strong. They're getting faster. They're learning what punching power is, right? But Mayweather comes from an era where he got away with everything. Ducking below the waist, excessive holding, pushing a guy's head down, holding his head down, right? Now, Mayweather didn't do this in all of his fights, but to bridge the gap against someone like Manny Pacquiao, someone who is in position to throw combinations, someone who's a good striker, as well as pretty good boxer, right? He had to bridge the gap by holding, by continuing to hold even after the ref said not to, by, you know. Anyway, Terence Crawford is not just like the best of our generation, right? We're not just like in the Terence Crawford era, right? And it's here. This is it. Terence Crawford is the guy we're waiting to watch fight now, right? There was a time where everyone was waiting for Usyk, right? And then he looked like, you know, whatever against Joshua. He won the fight, but he looked whatever. When's he gonna fight? Is he gonna fight Wilder? Yeah, I'll watch, but like, you know, could go either way. Probably, maybe. No, probably not. Usyk probably smash him easy. Fury, right? Nobody wants to watch... Everyone wants to watch Fury fight, but nobody wants to watch Fury fight? Does everyone just want to know what's going to happen if he fights Usyk? He should probably be stripped. I don't know. Inoue beating Fulton. I can't believe people think that he's like... You know, I guess top 10 pound for pound is fine. But like, who's he beating? He beat a guy, Aran Daipan. That guy started boxing during COVID. And that was one of his like last 4 fights. Right? Like he beat who? He beat Donaire, who just got beat by a journeyman. No offense, journeyman. Good job on your title. Yo, they asked some guy, yo, are you gonna show your light side or the dark side in the ring. Oh, I'm going to show both. And then the guy was like, yo, that was a layup, man. That was such a layup for you, and you missed it. Donaire missing that title was a layup. That was a layup that they threw him. Why that fight was a world title fight? Who fucking knows? But you fucking missed your layup, dog. But again, think about that as an end of an era, right? There was a time where people thought that Donaire was one of the best of his era, right? One of the best professional fighters, right? He didn't have a lot of amateur experience, but they thought he was a great professional. But Inoue's best win is who? Fulton? And Fulton is not as nearly as good as Terence Crawford or as Errol Spence. Fulton's not even close. Right? So Crawford, hands down, being, you know, the number one fighter on the planet. And like, again, like one thing that I talked about before the fight with Spence is that this was going to be an easy fight. You know? Not like easy, like he wasn't going to get hit, or easy, it wasn't going to be difficult. He just had to survive to the moments of the fight that he was going to come alive, right? Make sure he doesn't get knocked out by a random 1-1-2, right? Because an experienced fighter is going to check the line early and often. They're just going to throw the punch and see, right? And here's the thing is, against an inexperienced fighter, like a guy's first day in sparring, you're going to go 1-1-2 him, poof, and he's going to quit. He's going to quit. He's not even going to want to go, right? You're going to get him, and he's going to be like, wow, I can't compete with that. Anyway. There's no shot that that Mayweather would be able to beat Crawford. There's no shot at all. He's okay at getting on the line because he's fast. He's faster than everyone, but he's not faster than Crawford. He doesn't have a better guard than Crawford. He doesn't keep his hands up as well as Crawford. He doesn't have as much control of the line as he thinks he does against someone who's as fast as he is, as big or bigger than he is, and stronger than him, right? So my pick for that fight would be Terence Crawford by skills, Terence Crawford by everything, but also Terence Crawford by having better competition, being in a better era. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks, guys.